your eyes, look around, hear the sound, shake your weary head, you're alive, lying in your bed, waking up now. Look around your room, see the things that matter, and then you will soon see your past behind you. All the wrong is gone. Open up your eyes. Your day is about to begin.
I don't know what this video is going to be called, but I've just been inspired to do it after a rant that sort of started up on the last video I've just made. I'm going to be talking about YouTube, music channels. I'm going to be talking about all the things that I get accused of just doing shallow videos where I just wind everybody up with clickbait titles just so I get all the views. I'm going to be talking about all that today. I don't know what the title it'll be, but I will have a title by the time I get to the end of it. Because like an expert jazz musician, I really am going to improvise this one through. I'm really going to make it up on the spot. I don't even know what I'm about to talk about, except I have a vague idea that after years now of the same routine where I go to bed and I stick the laptop on my chest, and as I'm nodding out, I think, I'll have a quick look, see how many comments I've got on old YouTube. So I log in and they're there and someone says like, I was at that gig you were talking about in 1975. It was really good, but I got really drunk and passed out. And I put a heart on it. Like, nice little comment that was. Then I go on to the next one. You right, Kev?
Are you doing it?
Of course, I always am, but...
Oh, I'll catch you when you
Yeah, I'll come down in a minute. My friend Kevin often he's replaced my mom for disturbing my videos. My mom never rings up now. I think she must have colluded with my friend Kevin, who keeps sticking his head through the door every time I'm shooting a video. So where was I? So I'm going down the comments, and then somebody will go, I really enjoy your videos, Andy. They're really good. They're really fun. They always lighten up my day. I don't always agree with you, but even when I don't agree with you, I do enjoy what you do. And I think that is a fair comment, and I love that, and I put a bit of heart on it. They don't often agree with everything I say, but even though they don't agree, they still enjoy watching the videos. Now, they're the sort of viewers I like. I need to get all of them, right? But would the channel be any good if I only did have them? Because there's another contingent that comes in, and they're the moaners, right? Now, people can complain. I don't mind a complaint or two. You know, if somebody feels that they got some constructive criticism. Like, for example, it's freezing cold in here today. They got the heating working last week, and now the heating's not working again. So I've got my fan heater, and it's making a noise in the background. And certain people will go, what is that noise in the background? I don't like that noise. You should sort it out. And I'll go, it's my fan heater. And then they'll start going, have you not thought of getting a so-and-so heater in? Or what? And then I go, well, no, because they are going to fix the heating. Well, have they done that? Well, they did do it the other day. I get this conversation, right? And I'll get pulled into this conversation as though I can't think of ways that you would heat a room, and they can. But I haven't got a problem with that, because they are offering their sort of advice, unwanted as it is. I don't mind those. Then, because I'm not a big fan of identity politics, because I believe in free expression, and I'm a sort of a liberal type that believes in tolerance, and people should be able to say what they like and think what they like and do what they like, and that's the sort of country I want to live in, where you can do those things. Every time I venture into that area, you get the identitarian left popping up. You know, you sound like a Ben Shapiro fan. You sound like a far-right Nazi. You are obviously really right-wing and talking right-wing talking points. And I get that one. Now, the thing is, I actually quite enjoy arguing with them. And I find myself looking forward to their shallow retorts so I can plough in and prove to them who really knows about this subject, which is me. Arrogant though that might seem, but they never seem to put any real pushback. And I just keep going until they start calling me names. And once they do call me a name and there is no actual substance to their comment, I chalk it up on my wall and I get my Swiss Army knife out and I scratch in another line. And every time I get to 4, I cross it through to 5 and the wall is covered of people that I have destroyed with my counter arguments against identity politics. They think they've won because they called me a name. But I class that as a win. Even if it's not, I don't care because it makes me happy. I don't mind those. But the ones I hate are where people come in and they take my opinion so seriously that they denounce my rights to make these videos. So it would be like this. I've just watched your video on the 10 most overrated guitarists of all time. And at number 4, you put Andy Latimer from Camel. I mean, Andy Latimer is a brilliant guitarist, and I can't even think that he is even overrated. Most people don't even know who he is. Camel are quite an obscure progressive rock band, and although he has a small but strong fan base in the wider cultural realm, Andy Latimer's not that well known at all. So why would you pick on him for and say that he's overrated? I don't believe he's overrated whatsoever. He seems completely underrated to me, and he's a great guitar player who plays with taste and feel. And if people like him, why shouldn't they like him? Why are you trying to? Who the hell do you think you are? Why are you trying to put them down to get views, to get being clickbait and bringing the viewers so that they'll come and watch the video and get all angry and then put comments and then your comments make the video more sort of, there's more traffic going on and YouTube notices that, so they start to pull more people in, more Andy Latimer fans because they know exactly what everyone likes, and more Andy Latimer fans, they come in and they start watching it, they get angry and they start putting more things on it, more comments, and you answer the comment before you know it, there's 1,000 comments on a video that only had like 350 views in the first place, you know, and they all think there's something going on, so they pass them all over, and you start making money out of the ad revenue just because you've said something nasty. You're profiting you are profiting from denouncing perfectly good musicians that we like just to get your own way, and it's I find it really difficult, and then it gets to this. You should not be allowed to do this. Who are you to say this? What albums have you played on? What do you know about it? You don't know anything about it. And then they start in, you are old and ugly, you are this, and this. Now, I've got to tell you, the identitarian lot, the lefty types, they're not going to criticise my appearance. If they do that, it's really low. And they know that. They know that because they have that moral code. They're not going to put me down over the way I look. But these bitter, you know, old age music fan likes, or maybe they're a little bit, I don't know, maybe they think, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, they pick on what I look like, especially my age. And I start to get called grandpa and stuff like this. The other day, and I'll tell you, it hurt me, this one did. Somebody, because it was accurate. They actually found a pressure point in me, a weakness, because they said, because they didn't like what they did, they said, you were so ridiculous on this that you actually have been funny. But your attempts to be funny, which is when I come across it as a cross between Stuart Lee and Alf Garnett, are not funny. It was something like that. He sort of was sarcastic, but he put down my actual attempts at comedy by referencing one of my comedy heroes, the great Stuart Lee, who has influenced me very, very much in the way I deliver these videos, and Alf Garnett, who, for those of you who don't know, was this like character that Johnny Spate invented that was played by Warren Mitchell in the late 60s, early 70s, and he lampooned the sort of conservative, right-wing, white British racist type by being all of those things. And there was always this idea that a lot of the people who liked Alf Garnett were laughing at him because they agreed with him. And then Johnny Spate would come out and say, no, it's a satire and it's actually taking the mickey out of those people. Now, I've got to be honest, I love Stuart Lee, I love Alf Garnett, and I like the way he hovers between, you know, some people are laughing. I was watching Stuart Lee and he was doing the thing about Islamophobia. And he set up this idea where he'd got two audiences. He'd got his sort of liberal elite audience who had bought the tickets, so they were in front of him, and they got all the clever jokes. But then the people watching on the television, they were just waiting for an Islamic joke. And it's the same tension that you get with Alf Garnett. And so when this bloke said this as a sort of insult, I was a little bit like, yeah, I am. That's exactly what I am. Why are you criticising me for it? That's exactly what I am. And I think what this video is going to be about is that what this video is going to be about is making the point, I think, that I am not a music journalist, right? I'm not a music fan, particularly. I am a music fan, but that's not my main reason for being here, right? I am not making documentaries, right? And I feel no reason on this channel, which is my channel, to tell the truth or not to tell the truth, to say what my opinion is or not to say what my opinion is, right? To make something that has sort of any sense to it. I feel under no compulsion to do any of these things on this channel. And actually, I believe that one of the beauties of YouTube is that you can do this. On mainstream media, you wouldn't be able to do this. You know, if you're a news channel, you're a news channel. If you're a music sort of magazine show, you're a music magazine show. If you're a political critiquing channel, you're one of those things. But I'm greedy, so I want to do all of these things. But I know it's a strange thing to come out and one be saying the truth and one not be saying the truth. And so I think I enjoy being somewhere between the two, like Alf Garnett. I enjoy Stuart Lee for setting up this multi-layered appreciation of what he's doing. And in doing it, he actually takes the mickey out of both all at the same time, which means he's fundamentally taking the mickey out of himself. Now, Stuart Lee is he's a very touchy-feely identity type lefty, isn't he? So you might be surprised that I love him so much, but I absolutely do. And the reason I love him is because when he takes the mickey out of himself, I think that is what the identitarian left need to do, is take the mickey out of themselves and have a laugh about it and lighten up a little bit. But also when he takes the mickey out of me, I appreciate the fact. And when I have that little bit of shame, when he hits the nail on the head, I think, he has got a point, He has. What this does is it draws us to the middle. So this dichotomy that exists, when you don't quite know what someone's intentions are, because you never do. You don't know what people's intentions are on YouTube. And there is always two intentions. There is always this fake thing that you're seeing. As soon as this camera switches on, it's artifice. It's artifice that you're looking at. Okay? And in a way, I feel I can be more honest, right, by traversing any part I want and moving between these two areas. And I will explain in detail what these two areas are in a minute, because I think that would be what will be the most use, so people can sort of go, yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't really thought about it like that. But I feel the utility of traversing those is actually more powerful and it's more compelling. And I think the vast majority of people who have subscribed and watched this is because that's what they enjoy. Right? Because it creates an element of surprise, doesn't it? It creates an element of surprise to not know where this is going to go, right? To not know whether I'm telling the truth or not, to not know whether it's my opinion or not. And the truth is, I'm not too sure that any of us really know what our opinion is anyway, or that we're ever in possession of the full facts to know. And on that rests the whole Western liberal democracy experiment, because on any subject, the best person to ask about it would be the expert on that subject, right? So when we want our boiler fixed, we don't go to the democratically elected plumber. We let market forces determine who they are, you know? And I feel the same. I think that's the reality of the situation. You know, if we were to have a situation where the people who controlled us knew everything about whatever the subject, you know, so our health sector actually didn't know about health.
Oh, you listen to me. You got no props or competency. You like to mess around, but you got no feelings underground. You know, oh, you listen to me. You got no props or competency. You like to mess around, but you got no feelings underground. You know,
Ho ho, your memory all alone. Press play, your mind's a dictaphone. Say yes, then you might say no. Press stop, ready, set, let's go.
oh my God, don't you know you're gonna end up all alone? Oh my God, don't you know you're gonna end up all alone? Oh, you listen to me. You got no props or competency. You like to mess around, but you got no feelings underground. You know, oh, you listen to me. You got no props or competency. You like to mess around, but you got no feelings underground. You know.
Look right up, or look right down. See your feet upon the ground. See your head up in the sky. Doesn't it make you wonder why?
Oh my God, don't you know you're gonna end up all alone? Oh my God, don't you know you're gonna end up all alone? Oh, you listen to me. You got no props or competency. You like to mess around, but you got no feelings underground. You know, oh, you listen to me. You got no props or competency. You like to mess around, but you got no feelings underground. You know,
Oh my God, don't you know you're gonna end up all alone? Oh my God, don't you know you're gonna end up all alone? Oh my God, don't you know you're gonna end up all alone? Oh my God, don't you know you're gonna end up all alone?
oh, you listen to me. You got no props or competency. You like to mess around, but you got no feelings underground. You know, oh, you listen to me. You got no props or competency. You like to mess around, but you got no feelings underground. You know.
Oh my God, don't you know you're gonna end up all alone? Oh my God, don't you know you're gonna end up all alone? Oh my God, don't you know you're gonna end up all alone? Oh my God, don't you know you're gonna end up all alone? Oh my God, don't you know you're gonna end up all alone? Oh my God, don't you know you're gonna end up all alone? Oh my God, don't you know you're gonna end up all alone? Oh my God, don't you know you're gonna end up all alone?
You go to the other end of the market now, and you have these sort of clickbait videos, which are going to bring a lot of people in to watch. They're not necessarily going to be interested in the sort of heart of what I do, right? So they're sort of fair weather viewers. And when they come in, they're coming in because I have come up with an idea which is much more compelling, rather than saying the 10 best, which used to really do. So what happens is the 10 best, people come in to see if my taste aligns with them. But the worst is even better, because they now want to see if what I hate aligns with them, okay? If it does, it will make them go, see, I was right. And if it doesn't, then they will go, this bloke's an idiot. Right? That is the name of the game. And I'm quite aware that that is the name of the game when I do them. So if I'm going to do these and bring people in, okay, I then think, then how am I going to deal with this? And the only way to deal with it, I think, is to do it in a way where certain people will get really angry and show themselves up. They'll be drawn out into the game, all right? They'll be drawn out by it. And they will make a fool of themselves in the comment by going, how can you say so-and-so's this? How can you say... And I know that a lot of the hardcore fans are sat there and they go, I like the video, but the comment section's even better. And they sort of sit back and they start to go through the comments. And they're reading the comments as well. Right? So there's the people who don't know, and there's the people who know what I'm doing. And what I'm doing is I'm stoking it up. Now, I didn't know that this was the case until, I think, the year before last, I was playing at the Prog for Piet Progressive Rock Festival. And that week I had done the 10 most overrated drummers in history. And Neil Peart had come out number 1. So I arrive, and there's progressive rock fans at this, so I don't know who they are, but they know who I am because they watch the channel, and they go, hey, it's Andy. So I walk over with them, and they went, so what you been doing today? And I said, I've been filming the 10 most overrated drummers. And they said, who's come out number 1? And all I did was look around and look at the big poster with Neil Peart on it, and then they burst out laughing, and they said to me, they goes, oh, I love it. So when I said, you come on, you all sit there chatty and chirpy, and you're going through your lists, and you're making it, cracking your jokes. But I just know that you're just going to go to those sacred cows, and certain people won't be able to stand it. And he goes, I love Neil Peart, and what they're enjoying is the enjoyment of being wound up by me. That's what those videos are. You enjoy the fact that I'm going to try and wind you up, or I'm going to try and wind somebody else up, and you can watch them get wound up, or you can imagine them getting wound up, right? Now, if you wind somebody up, it doesn't work if there's not a grain of truth. So the horrible fact is, that Neil Peart actually is the most overrated drummer in the world, because he's got such a huge fan base, right? There's such a huge amount of people that think he's the best drummer in the world, and he's not. And that very statement, which I know is a statement of truth, and I know I can justify it till the cows come home, right? I know it's going to wind people up. Even me just saying it now, but it's actually absolutely a categorical fact that on any metric, apart from being the drummer of Rush, Neil Peart is not the greatest drummer in the world. Not on any metric. And he would have said this himself. And we know this because when he did the Buddy Rich thing, he really showed himself up in front of all the drummers that were there. And afterwards he left it, and he admitted this, and he went and got drum lessons because he couldn't play at the level of a Steve Gadd or a Simon Phillips or a Will Calhoun. And there was a thing that went down between Neil Peart and Will Calhoun. They didn't have a row or anything. It wasn't a fallout. It was just, I don't think Neil really understood what a drummer like Will Calhoun can do. He's a drummer for Living Colour. I don't think he realised what he could do, the level of that type of a player compared to him. And I know as I'm saying it, obviously I'm laughing because there's Rush fans watching this. The few that have watched it are now getting irate, and it's the fact that they get irate. That's the esoteric heart of these videos, right? That's the esoteric heart. And there's a dichotomy there. And so what they will come in and they will say, you shouldn't be doing these videos. This is a waste of time. And they will come in with a bunch of pushbacks, which are just, they're not thought out. They are just literally knee-jerk reactions. So the first one is to say, I don't know what I'm talking about, obviously. So I'm not qualified to talk about it. or I don't know about it, or you made a mistake when you were describing it, so that means the whole thing of everything you said is untrue. You will see them try to push back in this way. Now, I don't mind that, but you can see they're so angry that at the end of it, they will often go for personal insults. And as I thought I could take it, I'm one of these people, you can tell by my sense of humour, you know, that I can sort of enjoy being insulted like that. But I'm going to be honest that having the weight of comments like that, because it's like 1,000 comments a day or whatever it is, and you're reading them, and a YouTuber say, don't read the comments, you shouldn't read the comments, but a lot of my ideas come from the comments. A lot of the things I think I'm doing wrong come from the comments, you know. And the way I do what I call clickbaity videos has become more comedic, because I think that morally is the right way of doing it. So this reminds me of a lecture I used to do when I used to do proper teaching at college. And I used to draw a line across the board, and at one end I would put artistic fulfillment, and at the other end I would put making a living. And the point I was making on this thing is that I was saying, to make a living out of music, you have to compromise your artistic achievement. Right? You have to. And and you might not think that that's true. You might think of, what about David Bowie? Right? But there was things David Bowie couldn't do because he was David Bowie. All right? He could apply his creativity to being David Bowie, but he had to do it within the realm of that. And that's a really difficult thing to do. And this is why these people are geniuses, because they have to work in that thing. The thing of getting up in the morning and just expressing yourself however you want, which could be a pile of rubbish, but does not matter. And if that's what you want to do, then you need to fund that yourself. This is what she says to students. So we have the person at the end who could fund this themselves, and I'd give examples of this in the industry or in the non-industry of people I knew that had gone out and made a lot of money, set themselves up, built themselves a recording studio, and then used to just go in there and have fun making their music. You know, that's all they did. Right to the person at the other end that was playing in a tribute band and all this type of stuff. And there's enjoyment to be had all the way across the line. But career-wise, you've got to decide whereabouts on that line you'd like to sit. And you have to ask yourself what you want to do creatively, truly, on where it would occupy on that line. Because there's no point trying to kid yourself that you are going to be able to do whatever you want, record it, get it out into the world, get a record deal, sell enough records, even though nobody buys records anymore, or make some money enough for you to survive and live, and then be able to carry on doing whatever you want, and your audience would run with you. Maybe a few people have achieved this, but out of the minuscule percentage of people who actually make it in the music industry, or used to make it in the old music industry, the amount who had complete creative control over what they did, didn't have to consider commercial constraints, I just don't believe they exist. And so, coming from the music industry, I realised that YouTube was exactly the same. And so, in the music world, I had done progressive rock because the bands are big enough that I'd have a nice gig, that would be some audiences there, which meant you had to jump through some commercial and generic hoops to be in the running to be able to do it. But I'd get to play and do stuff that was more challenging to me. So I saw myself as sort of putting myself into the middle, and then accommodating for the fact that these bands would never, you'd never earn a living out of these bands, right? So coming to YouTube, I've approached it in much the same way. That it's my job to come out and do some videos that make people come and watch the channel. A lot of people will watch it, which means I can keep going because I am now earning my living out of this channel. This is what I'm doing. And me earning a living out of this channel has inspired other people who've contacted me who are trying to do the same thing. And I want to support them in doing that, because these sort of channels are key to saving music and keeping it going. So I believe that the noble causes behind my channel would be this, and I suppose that's what this video is about. So I at least got one video up amongst 1,000 where I state my intention on the 20th of January 2025 of what I want to do with the channel. So I suppose it's this. I want to talk about music that's from the classic period of rock music, rock bands, all that sort of stuff, 60s, 70s, 80s. that has come out of, in some way, jazz and blues and referred to those music styles. I'm not interested in talking about classical music, but the 20th century popular music forms. I want to talk about that, but I want to identify stuff that was more musical rather than more cultural and lyric based, because the mainstream culture tends to focus on those. And as much as the Bob Dylans and Lou Reeds and all that are brilliant, I want to focus on the weather reports and the yeses and the gentle giants. And I want to do that by making videos that are interesting to older gentlemen, usually, who appreciate those bands and make that interesting. So they might not be able to go and chat to their mates, Gentle Giant, but I'm going to want to talk in a way that's like a bloke down the pub just about Gentle Giant. You know, what's your favourite Gentle Giant album? That one's terrible. And so that's the original intention of that. And in doing that, that will keep the music alive and create a database that in the future motivated and interested younger music fans that are exploring this area in much the same ways that I explored early jazz, which I've got a massive interest in, will come across this and they'll go, oh my, this one bloke's talking all about it. He's going into all the nooks and crannies, exploring all sorts of stuff. So that's one of the things, is to keep that music alive and focus on performed music, which has got some sort of skill level there and is music based, where the worth is in the music, not what it's about and the message and all that type of stuff. The next thing is to discuss aesthetics in a philosophical way, because I don't think that is done enough. People just poo-poo aesthetics and throw it aside. And I want to make the point that aesthetics is central. It's 50% of what human beings do. They seek truth and they appreciate beauty and they negotiate what beauty is. And art is the negotiation of what beauty is. So there's aesthetic philosophy I want to do in there, right? I want to help creative people. I want to blur the lines between the audience and the artist, because I think that is what's going to happen in the future. So I want to create a database of stuff that if someone is frustrated and they would want to know how to become creative, that there's stuff on my channel where they could start to see and weave and see ways of doing that, which I think is very, very important. And really discuss the link between mental health and creativity and have that there. These are all the noble things that I want to do. Now, on the other side, if you are dealing with mental health issues, right, the other thing you could do is lampoon that. So you could take the power away for some people with their mental health issues by joking about it. The monster is always tameable when you start laughing at it. Dealing with young people when they're really frightened, trying to sit down with them and rationally explain why they're frightened when it's irrational never works. But on a much deeper level, if you take the thing they're scared of and you act like nonchalant, like you're not scared of it, and find it funny and take the mickey out of it, and before you know it, they are laughing with you. And the humour is usually based upon me going, well, what happens if, say someone's anxious because they think they're going to break wind in the class and everyone's going to laugh at them, something like that. And I might go, I will bring that up. I will bring it in as comedic. I will start breaking wind all the time. I don't mind being the fool, right? I don't mind chatting about the fact that I broke wind and tell them stories, then get the whole class to tell stories. And then that timid person, they might even not say it, but maybe they put their hand up and go, yeah, I really worry about it. And then somebody else goes, don't worry about it, just let rip. Yeah, shall we do a symphony of farts? That's what I mean, you'd be very good at it, sat there holding all those farts, and I bet you got a real big one. And then to have that shy person just laugh at that joke, it has to be done in a certain way. That cathartic thing of comedy, which just releases the tension, all right, I think is so valuable. So when we're trying to rebalance this critical, I think I've got to what this video is about now. I think I've arrived at something I hadn't thought before, and I've had a revelation, not a revelation, but I've had a realization myself. When I do the worst ofs and people come ploughing in and insulting me saying you shouldn't talk about that and you shouldn't talk about this, you have to put that into the context of what I'm trying to do on this channel. I am trying to elevate the weather reports and return to forevers and and the deep purples and the white snakes, and all the those groups that I grew up loving, that I wondered why the critics didn't love and why they'd been demoted. And I'd listen to Close to the Edge and go, this is incredible. Does nobody else notice? This is incredible. And nobody else had. And then they tell I was pretentious and it was pretentious and I was sad for liking it. But I'm here now, and someone will come across this video and they'll go, oh my God, this bloke loves Yes, and I love it. It's not so bad. It's not so bad liking Yes. Let's all get them stand up. Yeah, bloody better than all this Velvet Underground rubbish. And that is the point, right? There is nothing in the music industry that's sold or has created something is rubbish. Velvet Underground, the Ramones, they're not rubbish. None of these bands are rubbish. They can't be. People like them. They have a fan base, right? They have had an impact, and there's no way they could survive unless people bought that Ramones album. To this day, there must be people, God knows who they are because they've been off their bloody heads, but they put that Ramones album on for enjoyment, so it can't be bad. And if you think as a musician who's worked in the industry, I don't know that, you're off your head. But those groups that are the critics' darlings, I am going to poke fun at. I am going to bring them down in a very English way, in the way that Monty Python, or the Carry On films would poke fun at figures of authority like policemen or doctors or whatever, lawyers. They would poke fun at them in a certain way. There's a tradition of that here. Also, bands that normal people like, the Bruce Springsteens, these groups that maybe housewives like, the Michael Bublés. I'm going to lay into them as well. I am going to bring those down. I am going to pull them off their perch and rough them up and kick them to the floor and make them look silly. Right? I'm going to do that because, and this is why the overrated ones work so well, because it's that, and that is worthy of doing. Right? It's always worthy of taking anything that's been propped up and stuck on a perch. And you've got to understand, the music industry thrives on this. And at the moment, we're going through a cultural period where that elite, that sort of mainstream entertainment elite, which is film stars, TV stars, news presenters, musicians, pop stars, all of them, we don't care about them anymore. And that gasp of celebrity, right? That gasp of celebrity has become a thing in itself. And there's no real worth in any of this. Last night I sat down and there was a documentary on the telly, and it was about some teenager that was on Love Island. It was an old documentary there. She was lying on the front of a Jaguar, not the big cat, the car. And this is all, and then their dad was there going, she's only a girl. All the trials and tribulations of being a celebrity. And I just thought, it's a shame for her. She's just a kid. They're all just normal people, and we will stop worshipping them now. That era is over. I've done a video recently called the Mount Olympus Syndrome, or Mount Olympus Theory, that was it, which goes into this in detail, and I think this video follows on from that. And I think I think those videos that do really well, right? And those people who come in and say, I'm not qualified to talk about their favourite band because I criticise them, right? Or sometimes the progressive rock, the fans of this, who have their own prejudices against rap or whatever it is, Kraftwerk, dance music, and it's really, when you consider I'm pontificating and being so like, these are my opinions and I'm not going to budge because I'm some sort of middle-aged bloke and doing all that act, actually, the very thing I get accused of is what I am critiquing. And it is the solidity of our opinions. Okay? Now, I believe, and it's only my opinion, that ethics and morality are actually contained and negotiated within the arts, in aesthetic considerations. And I've done a million videos on this, so I don't want to go into all that, but you can find those videos. I really believe that's the case, and it really makes things make sense once you start to see it in that way. And our politics then comes from our ethical and moral positions. And none of these are absolute, right? And our politics that comes from our ethics, which comes from our aesthetic view of the world, is always at fault, and art is always negotiating these things. You can never be absolute, but it's not just some random nothingness. Obviously it isn't, because you can't build a political system or tell someone that they shouldn't murder someone, right? This is heavyweight stuff, unless there is something solid at the big front of it, which is what we think is beautiful. And so I have to explain that these videos that I make, my training first off was as a painter, was as an artist, and I see them as creative pieces of work. And you will see that there's certain points on the channel where it's just pure music and art. It's just graphics and music put together. At the moment, I'm just doing a lot of talking, a little bit of editing. There's not even anything surreal happening in them really. But at some point, I'll turn to that again. At some point, I might really hit all the sort of clickbaity ones. At some point, I'll just talk about prog, you know. But as a whole, when you stand back and take this as a whole, you can never assume that what I'm saying is my opinion or the truth. You have to sit and work it out for yourself. And that is the creative bit of these videos. I'm not saying it's art, but I suffer with anxiety very badly. I suffer with self-doubt very badly. And the reason why YouTube is good for me is because the amount of work I have to do is perfect for me, because I can get up in the morning and my brain will focus on thinking about, what are my videos about, and why do I do clickbaity videos? How would I answer these people who are criticizing me? I would rather deal with those than deal with the black void that's in my head, which I see as representing my intention to move towards the void, which we all have in us. We can move towards the void, we can move towards chaos, we can sit down with it. This looks actually quite comforting, but it's fundamentally destructive. And when we do that, values fall apart. And before you know it, the world is just a big nihilist place. It's got no point whatsoever. And then you think, what is the point? Not realizing the fact that you're asking what is the point means that there is a point. Or you could go towards order. Chaos and order exist together, hands in hand. And to know where the order is, because there is no absoluteness, or if there is an absoluteness, we haven't got access to it, you have to try and balance it with the chaos. You have to have both things operating at once. Now, if you noticed, I'm not stuttering now. I was pretty articulate through the whole of that, because it's quite hard to get to that point when you do these videos where you get on this line and you can just talk. Now I'm self-regarding, and now I'm starting to stutter, and I'm very aware of this. That I've just, as soon as I became aware of that, it just fell through my fingers. But before then, when I was talking about that thing, you could only touch it for a few seconds. It only exists for a few seconds. And it's this balancing act. It's being able to pull those two things together. If you can hold them in your brain, it all calms down. So in a way, I need to embrace the fact that I do these silly videos and there's comedy in there. I didn't understand the comedy. It's not down to you. I'm here. This is right. I'm here trying to explain it to you, but you're not interested. You don't care. It doesn't matter whether you do care or not. If you like the videos and you like them, you know, if you come and watch them, you come and watch them. I can't do anything about that. It's me. It's down to me. It's not down to you. It's me. I have to sit back and understand that I've ended up in the very privileged position of having a YouTube that people watch, that makes enough money that I can afford the time to spend doing these. And that the only way I can stop this from just turning into veiled narcissism is by understanding that what I'm doing here is not me. And that the only way these can work is by challenging my inner idiot. And the clickbaity videos are possibly the most important one, because it's the inner idiot that I am channeling when I make them. At the moment, I hope there is no idiot in what I'm saying. I'm really trying my hardest to explain something I don't even understand. You see, I'm talking and I'm motivated by a feeling in my body of not rightedness. That's the creative urge. I'm trying to balance something. I don't even know what it is, but it's in there. It needs to come out. Right? And it's come from the experience of the last few days of really battling people in the comments section and pretending it doesn't bother me and cracking jokes. But I suppose not wanting to admit much to myself that some of the comments do hurt and the punches do land. And, you know, when I say sticks and stones will break your bones, but names will never hurt me, but they do hurt you. And that challenges your belief that, you know, you shouldn't be offending people, you know, shouldn't worry about offending people and their opinions. And the fact is, I don't know, I don't know. I absolutely... The fact is that if I really push into any of these things, I sit here and talk about it, and there's a responsibility I've got. But if I really examine it deeply, I don't really know what I'm talking about. So what's this all about? I don't know. I actually don't know. I can do a comedy video. I can make people come. You know, I could do that tomorrow. 10 lead singers that should never have been frontmen. 10 lead singers that should never have been singers. Not quite right. That's how you make a YouTube video. You start there with the title, then you think of the thumbnail that goes with it. And that's what it's about. What is that about, though? I've got better at it. But I think I've tried to justify myself here. And I bet people in the comments are saying, Andy, you don't have to justify yourself. Just get on with what you're doing. We like it, blah, blah, blah. They're right. I'm trying to justify myself because everyone's been having a go at me saying I make clickbaity videos and it's shallow. I don't want to be shallow. I don't want to be just someone, you know, saying a load of crap to draw people in. And I have this jokey silliness thing going on here where I can't actually admit to the fact that it is stressful. And it's quite a hard thing to do. And I'm feeling sorry for myself and tell it to people that probably got proper jobs. It's all self-loathing. This video is going to be called something like, and I still haven't got to the title, An Exercise in Self-Loathing. That title's a good title, but it will only bring in the hardcore people. They'll go, oh, this sounds really good. Andy's going to get onto the mental health issues. So they might be a bit at the beginning of this chat, they might be a little bit let down when what I'm talking about, but I've got there in the end. So here's the summing up now of what I've been talking about, right? And it's basically this. Even I have self-loathing, and it doesn't matter what I do. And when I think that I've sorted it out, because I've got a big posh YouTube and there's loads of subscribers and I'm all clever and I'm coming out with it, and if I sit there arguing with everybody and I can get in my counter opinions, it will fight the horrible demon at the door, which is going, Andy, you don't know what you're talking about. You shouldn't have it. You shouldn't be in this position. You should be at the bottom of the pile, you know, not being able to make any money, not being able to support your family, because in the end, you are a waste of space. That is the demon. That is the demon at the bottom of all this. And that's the demon I've just tried to exercise on this video, which I think I've done in a very clumsy way. Very clumsy. But I have got there in the end. I do apologise to you all for putting you all through this. I really do. Can't you just shut up and do the videos and be happy with what you've got, Andy? But you're doing it again. We do it, you see. We do it. We all do it. Self-loathing. What an awful thing. Where does it come from? Why do we have it? We just... Why do we have self-loathing? Why do we put ourselves through this? You know what the answer is? Because if we didn't have it, it would be worse. Everything would be worse. If we didn't have self-loathing. We'd be like some robotic narcissist. Human beings aren't designed to be continually in a happy, blissful, mindful state. All, hippified and jostics. Sitting there thinking that we've conquered the rich, that we're enlightened. There's no such thing as enlightened. Enlightened is knowing that you're not enlightened. Enlightened is knowing the reality of the situation, accepting it. That self-loathing is the engine of true achievement. Needs to be channeled. How many of you have it? Put it in the comments. Because if you do have it, and you've arrived at the end of this video and thought, I think I know what Andy's saying, yeah. We have to accept it. It's there for a reason. And it needs to be channeled. Fair enough. He's made that point before in other videos. But here we are at this point in my channel where I've done 1,000 videos and these things have hung over, these themes have hung over the channel all the way through. I've always been obsessed from the age of about 11 in these issues. Everything in my life has been trying to solve this problem. I will solve it till I die, and it will never be solved, but it's the engine of achievement. Because to be truly alive is to suffer. Richard Dawkins said that, talking about evolution on a video I was watching last night. Weird, isn't it? Why don't I just listen to what he said and just come out and say, watch Richard Dawkins last night, you know what he said? He's to achieve anything in life, you need to suffer. Animals have to suffer. It's a genetic requirement. Because without the suffering, you cannot pass on your genes, which is the only real reason why you're here, if you're Richard Dawkins, to pass on your genes. I don't believe that. Because I think there is something else. But I also don't think there's something else. Because I don't really know. I don't really know. If you do have self-loathing, put it in the comments and say, I know exactly what you're talking about. Because I thought I had it licked a little bit. I thought I was getting somewhere. But I can feel, I haven't been able to breathe over the last few days, and I know that is because something's stressing me out. I feel a little bit better. But if you're suffering with this, all I can say is that we are all individuals. We all have we don't belong to identity groups. We don't belong to anything. We are who we are. We're unique individuals. That's why I don't like identity politics. That's it in simple terms, is that you're all individuals. You're you. You're not anybody else. No one should be judged by any of these characteristics. But although we're individuals, we are all together, linked by our combined humanity. And the tonic to this self-loathing is love. And if you like what I do here and you watch it, and a lot of people do, that's a wonderful thing, that is. And I appreciate it very, very much. And I do love you all for supporting me here. And you'll never know what you lot have got me through. But by the same token, if you're watching it and you like what I do, and you're watching this to the end, you're a special person, because you've stayed here because you want to hear this thing. You want to hear, you know it already. You know nothing, but you know it all. That's the bizarre thing. You do know nothing, and there's nothing wrong with that. You don't need to know everything, be able to do everything. You don't need to do any of that, because you're not there for everybody else's purposes. You're not a means, you're an end. Immanuel Kant was right. We're all an end in ourselves, and we should be an end in ourselves for everybody else. And so if you're here, there's something very beautiful, I believe, that to me, you seem like the best people in the world, because what you really want to hear is stories about art and beauty, and you want to have a laugh, and then you want to hear the punchline at the end, which is the fact that we all love each other, really, if we had the chance to. We're united. We're all united. We're all united in our self-loathing. We're all here because of that. And the only thing that really solves it is me saying to you that if you're here, I really believe that you're the best people. You're the best people out there. You're the sensitive types. You're the ones that want to see me chat about this crap and support me. You're the ones that put your hands in your pockets and give me a bit of money every now and then, pay for my kids to have some food on the table. That's what you lot are. I'm not that. It's you lot that are that. Those of you who've done that, supported me, sent me kind comments, done all that. And you can't have those people without the ones who put all the nasty comments in. And they're only doing it because they don't like themselves. So they're all right. We're all right, really, aren't we? We've just got to realise it. Everyone's going to realise it. Start looking after each other. No one's looking after each other anymore. And why don't they? The reason they don't look after each other is because they've signed up to some sort of ideology or worldview which they think they have to stick to, whether they're Jewish or Muslim or bloody left wing or right wing. But in the end, that is just being a Bruce Springsteen fan or a Weather Report fan, or getting irate because someone said Neil Peart's not the best drummer in the world. And it all makes sense. It all ties together. Doesn't it? Does it? Does this video make any sense? Is it all tied together at the end? I feel it has. I feel like I don't need to explain it anymore. You silly people. Getting all fed up because I don't like Rush. And I love Rush. I love Rush. And to love Rush is to be able to celebrate it and say how wonderful it is, but also to see the faults in it. In the same way as we love our kids. You know, to love them in themselves, warts and all, because there's something wonderful there. And my God, is there something wonderful in Rush. There truly is. They warm my heart. I was watching a video the other day where they all got together and they played this like rock star game, you know, where they got all but it was proper instruments they got, and they were trying to play YYZ, or I think it was Tom Sawyer actually, and they're all doing it, and they're all doing it, and it's wonderful that they were doing it. And I was sat there going, this is why Rush is the best bloody band in the world, because they do stuff like this. It's like massively serious, but not serious at all. And Neil Peart, who's the quiet one, he's the very studious one. Alex Lifeson's the extrovert one. And Geddy Lee's like the sort of transmission between the two. That's the law of three in Rush, you see. It's those two things. Thesis, antithesis. Lifeson, Peart. Geddy Lee, bringing it all together. Holy Trinity, all that bit. They're the Holy Trinity of progressive rock. Without a doubt. Rush. And to see Neil Peart, poor old Neil Peart's no longer with us. He's the Holy Ghost, isn't he? That's a joke, by the way, but a bad taste one. Anyway, Neil Peart sat there and he's seriously doing it. He's seriously doing it. And there's no irony to it. He's trying to do it, not in a competitive way. There's a humbleness to what he's doing in admitting that he might have played the drum part to this track and he's the master of it, but you still can't do it on this silly computer game. And I was, it was just a wonderful thing, and I do love them. And if there is any of you out there a little bit embarrassed about Breaking Wind, don't worry about it. See you on the next video. I ain't going to do all the stuff at the end. Bye-bye. I've ended up Breaking Wind. I don't know if it was audible. I thought it was going to have a lot more volume to it. See, I'm even having self-loathing about the quality of the tumble quality of my wind. I love you all. Bye-bye.
Close your eyes and hold my hand. It's time to drift away.